Oh, I knew you'd do that.
I've been dying to play this for ages.
I know, since we knew
and
we'd have
and I play it when I'm not supposed to play it.
Apart from now, I think it's kind of relevant.
It's appropriate.
But what will crack me up is if he doesn't even like this kind of music. Now, really chuffed to have our next guest in the studio. And often, like, when Sonny and I talk about communities, we don't really focus on religion.
Nope.
But I think for the Sikh community specifically, this is quite huge. So Sikhs have been in London for well over a century. And I think it's fair to say, if you look at politics, entertainment, we are fairly known. The Sikh community is fairly known. But one area that is really lacking has to be the sporting world. And that is really changing with a new generation of Sikh athletes who are deciding to make their mark in whatever sport that they decide to do.
Not just hockey and cricket.
Yeah. And really chuffed to say that we're joined in the studio by Inder Singh Bassi. He's a 23-year-old undefeated boxer from Ilford. He is signed to the world-famous boxing promotional group MTK Global.
Wow.
They actually count Tyson Fury as one of their clients. And he's in the studio. Inder, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
Pleasure's all mine.
So what does this music do for you, mate?
You know what? It's giving me that little goosebumps.
Right. Listen, so I was brought up when the films were coming out, right?
Yeah.
So
Rocky. It's all about the Rocky.
And you would imitate with cushions in your hands with your cousins and like, you hit me now, you do this and then and you do it, and this music will play in the background, and also Eye of the Tiger gets you all excited.
These are the songs.
And so tell us, what was the motivation for you? Even though I never became a boxer in any way, shape or form, I just mimicked it, and I thought, okay, it's easier for me to become an actor or a performer than just be a boxer. So how did it start for you?
Boxing for me, it was in my family. Believe it or not, my granddad, when he first came to England from India, he watched Muhammad Ali box, and he was inspired by Muhammad Ali, and he actually took up boxing.
Wow!
So he was like the first in his generation. He was the first in England. He was in the Guinness Book of Records himself for being like the first South Asian boxer in like London or England, I think it was.
Excellent.
What's your grandfather's name?
Major Singh Bassi.
Major Singh Bassi.
Yeah.
That is so huge. So he was one of the first Sikh.
He was the first.
He was the first Sikh professional boxer in this country.
Yeah.
Back in the 60s.
Back in the 60s,
When
60s.
that wasn't really heard of. So does that mean growing up, did you hear about stories?
I heard about the stories. I saw like trophies and medals and all that kind of stuff. And I'd see like newspaper cuttings and articles. So it was just around me from when I was born, sort of thing.
And
so when you didn't have a choice, did you, mate? It was like, this is the route you're going to go down.
Thrown in the deep end.
Now, a lot of people would know about boxing, and they've seen the films, the documentaries that surround it.
Yeah.
The pros and cons of this sport as well, and a lot of conversation around mental health and also the impact of the head and everything. All that aside for a second, when you decided that you're going to follow in the footsteps of your grandfather, right, and say, listen, I'm going to keep this in the family, I'm going to go and win titles, how did the family take to this? Were they happy, or were they very encouraging, or were they sort of like, why don't you get a degree in something else and then carry on doing this on the side, and then you've got
to be honest, my immediate family, so my dad, my uncle, my granddad, obviously, they were very supportive, which is obviously quite rare, as like you said yourself, there's not many Sikhs in sport, so for the older generation to be quite supportive is quite rare, but hopefully that's changing now. It's a change in attitude, but for me, they pushed me, I was pushed, I was motivated by my family, so I was lucky I had that support.
But if you look to India, whether it's cricket or hockey, or even kabaddi, but like names like Milkha Singh, Harbhajan Singh, these are names that are household names within sporting. And I suspect for a lot of the community here, like second or third generation, what we sometimes don't realise is when our, let's say, forefathers, our grandfathers, grandmothers came here, they just maybe didn't have those opportunities.
100%.
And one of the biggest things, which I know you probably often don't talk about, is the fact that, you're a Sikh, you have a beard, do you wear a turban?
Yeah.
So as a turban-wearing Sikh, a lot of people would think, oh, hold on, can you do boxing, right? Because that's some of the practicalities back then. I mean, you couldn't even have a job if you had a turban.
100%.
So for you, what has that been like? To have a turban, do you usually wear, like today you've got
so I wear like
a bandana, a patka at the moment? For our listeners, it's like a bandana where your hair's tied back.
Yeah.
But I suspect on a daily basis you'll wear a turban. But when you're boxing, what are the rules?
All right, so well, like you said yourself, so like originally we have the opportunity. I have the opportunity to be able to not worry about work and feeding my family and making money to send back home. So that's where we're lucky. You know, we're born in this country. We have options to sort of go wherever we want and do whatever we want. But then regarding to like my appearance, so to be honest, on a day-to-day I wear a patka, which is like the bandana. That's on my day-to-day. But on occasion, you know, like a Nagar Kirtan, which is like a Sikh procession or stuff like that, I do tend to wear a turban. But day-to-day I wear a bandana. It's easier. It's more practical for myself. And then obviously in the ring, once I'm fighting, I have to take it off. I have to fight with just my hair, sort of thing. And then, like the beard, for example, that was another big issue in amateur boxing across the world. You couldn't have a beard.
I was going to ask you. Yeah, go on, carry on. Yeah.
So that was another big, massive issue a lot of Sikh young athletes faced when they wanted to do boxing.
Yeah.
Around the world, not just England, you couldn't have a beard. You couldn't have a beard. Like I don't really know the reason why. There wasn't really a specified particular reason. It was just there.
Right.
So for obviously, as you know, you had more and more Sikhs who wanted to take up boxing and that kind of stuff. They weren't allowed because they'd either have to make an option of cutting their beard,
which is against their belief system at the moment.
Exactly. Or they couldn't fight.
Right.
So obviously, a few individuals got together. You know, Jasveer from the Sikh Press Association, and there was a few lawyers and doctors involved. And originally, it got done in Canada.
Yes,
and then it got done in England next. And I was a case study used. But so in time, it's all changing, and hopefully it sort of paves the way for more athletes.
The discrimination then can go away, and 100%. Then the sports men like you and women like yourself can actually go forward
100%,
in the sport that you love.
They're able to do whatever they want because back then it wasn't available.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of ridiculous though, right? I mean,
it does,
seriously, if you can go to a fast food chain and someone's serving you food and they have a beard, how is your beard going to impact your quality of sport in a boxing ring?
Professional boxing, you was allowed. You know, martial arts, you're allowed. Kickboxing,
wow.
Every other contact sport you're allowed, except for boxing, amateur boxing.
Amateur boxing. Now, let's talk about this. Let's talk about the CV. So, Inder, you're 23 years old. You're in East London and from Ilford. 5 times London champion, 2 times Southern Area champion, home counties champion, 3 times national finalist, all as an amateur. That's huge.
Come on.
Yeah.
That's a lot of fights, man.
Yeah.
About 75 amateur fights I had.
So in the next hour, we're going to talk to you about plans for the future. That's important. But I always like talking about this. So Sunny and I, we have a 2.5-year-old daughter. She'll be 2.5 at the end of the month. And if she was to say, I'm going to box, I'll be like, oh my God, you know, the superficial stuff of is she going to be okay, but also her features and that kind of stuff. You know,
you've got a pretty face. So I'm sure,
man, you don't look like you've been boxed out or been in 75 matches. Yeah. How do you protect the face?
Do you know what I think?
Or are you even not bothered? I mean, look, I'm not in any way trying to disrespect the sport. I think it's a great sport, but I think this is something people do talk about.
Yeah, no, they do. And you know what? Part of the issue is they watch Rocky films and they see Rocky get his face beaten up every fight when it's not entirely the case.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, for example, in amateur boxing, up until you're a junior youth, up to 18/19, you wear a head guard.
Brilliant.
Okay.
So you can't box without a head guard. When you wear a head guard, you don't really get cuts.
That much.
Yeah, you can't get cuts. Yeah.
And plus, your gloves in the amateurs are well sort of cushioned.
Oh, a bit bigger. Okay.
Yeah, a lot bigger, and you have to wear wraps and all that stuff. So again, it's not like the Rocky films as such. I mean, you do get injured, you know.
How's mum is what I want to know, because I say I'm talking about my daughter. I mean, how is when you go home and because I can see you've got a little scar under your eyebrow, which I'm sure for the guys and the ladies they think it's cool, but I'm sure for family members,
at home, she'd be like,
for mum, how is that? How is that for her?
Like I said, I'm from a family of athletes, so even my grandma, for example, she's just been used to it. She's accustomed to it now. You know, from back home, even my family, there were wrestlers, there was kabaddi players.
Oh wow!
So sport, it's just a natural
thing. It's in your blood.
It's in our blood.
Love that.
Do they watch all your matches, or do they just wait for the result? They can't see you in the ring.
Can't watch you. Yeah.
Do you know? That's down to the individual. A lot of people they'll be at my fight, but they'll be facing the other way because I can't see it. It's just down to that. You know.
So who's that? Is that mum?
That's my uncles as well.
Really?
Yeah, I've got my friends. Some of my friends. They'll be, you know, they
love
think
you
they're
that
gangsters
much.
and they're trying to be. But when they're watching me fight, we can't watch you. We're trying to sort of doing that kind of stuff. Stepping
they
back.
feel the pain. We're going to continue having a chat with Inder. If you would like further details for Inder, you know what? It's all about supporting local talent. He's a Londoner. I just think it's great as well. He's really representing an underserved community, but also it's about flying the flag for him. He doesn't have to represent every single person. It's about him as a sportsman. Then go to his Instagram, Inder Bassi _. He's actually boxing next on the 18th of April. We're going to talk to him about that. And what the plans are for for the rest of this decade, essentially, because as we mentioned, he is now signed as well to the world famous boxing promotional group MTK Global. They actually count Tyson Fury as one of their clients. It'll be interesting to see where he's planning to go next. So stay with us. But we've had a lot of messages coming through with regards to our talker tonight. We are asking you, what are your plans when it comes to coronavirus? And we want to hear from you who are really touched by the song, and it's just been beautiful to see the song growing and growing. So we hopefully will get Taz when he decides that he's going to release a new single. He does take his time because he's a new dad,
rightly so,
and he wants to enjoy that. Now it's 7:09. Sunny and Shay, we're here with you tonight until 8 o'clock, and thanks to our guests for staying with us tonight. We've been having a great chat with Inder Singh Bassi. He's a 23-year-old undefeated boxer from Ilford, and what's huge, as he was explaining to us, he comes from a family of athletes. So his grandfather, Major Singh Bassi, is in the Guinness Book World Records, and he was the first ever Sikh professional boxer in this country, having fought in the 60s. So Inder is taking it one step further, though, because now he is also signed to the world famous boxing promotional group MTK Global that count Tyson Fury as one of their clients. He's due to be boxing next on the 18th of April at York Hall on Sports Direct, but waiting to confirm opponents. You can get further details for him on Inder Bassi _. But
that's like a month away.
Yeah, it's a month away. But how do you feel? We're asking all of our guests this. Even when you came in, normally I'd be shaking hands, and now I'm like throwing elbows.
I shook his hand.
Yeah, or like I'm saying, the
Indian way.
The Indian way, namaste or sat sri akal. How are you feeling with regards to coronavirus?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. There's a lot of speculation about whether the shows are going to continue because of and everything. So there's a meeting the other day with the British Board of Boxing Control. I'm not too sure what's going on, to be honest. Like you said, just the news is changing every day regarding the coronavirus. So we're going to train, and like they might shut gyms down and all that kind of stuff. Then we won't fight. But as of yet, I'm boxing, but it might change.
Now, when you are in this mode where you are training and to train for one fight in your league, how long do you have to train for?
So like a lot of boxers, they'll have a fight booked, and like 8 weeks before they'll start their camp, 8 or 6 weeks.
Wow.
But with myself, I'm always sort of training. Okay. So I'm always like at a decent level of fitness. Okay. So for me, it's just I just train throughout the year, man. Like from my last fight, which was 2 weeks ago, I had like a week off, 10 days off, but then I was just back in the gym. I was just doing what I do. And
I'm really sorry because I've got a massive box of chocolates in front of you, which is like a major temptation for me. But you've been so good. So you just don't eat chocolate. I mean, is it important? Is diet as important? This is what often people don't talk about. As an athlete, it's not just about the training, is it? It is about the diet.
It's about the diet's very important. To be honest, I do eat chocolates, but it's not like every day or like once a week, once every 2 weeks or something. I have like a chocolate bar, but even then, it's not something I crave. It's just from a young age. I've never really eaten.
Good. This comes from
it helps.
This comes from Rocky 1.
Oh, here we go. Here we go.
Now, Adrian and Rocky just started going out, and he was at her house, and she wanted to do some sexy time. Yeah. So, and he goes, "No, I can't. Not before the fight. I'm in training." Now, is that real? Is that fiction? Can you?
It's just something that boxers.
They do. Seriously, they abstain from any kind of physical. So, what's the thinking behind that?
I have no idea.
And do you follow this practice?
Yeah, all boxers do. We get told. It's just
no physical activity.
Yeah, we just
wow.
Say goodbye to all the girlfriends.
That's why you're so angry and frustrated. Like when you get in there, like, come on, man, and you're both like.
Do you know what? We're not actually angry. Okay. It's a stereotype, like another Rocky stereotype.
Yeah, I know.
Where it's boxing's an art.
It's a chess game.
Yeah, exactly. It is, and like it's calculated. The person who's angry, he's not going to win.
Right.
Look at Mayweather, for example.
So true.
He's had 50 fights as a professional. You wouldn't think that he's had 50 fights as a professional.
Very true.
His face has no markings on it, no nothing. Yeah. And because he's calm and relaxed, and
he's calculated. I mean, like when he took on Conor McGregor, in a different league, and even though Conor went to his house, if you want to call it that, and played by his rules, my man just. Waited.
It was a walk in the park for him.
Yeah, and that's where you saw the professionalism 100%. And how much he knows his rules and of his. And I don't think he could have done the same in Conor's. It'd be a completely different beast.
That's right. But
go ahead.
It's an art. Boxing's an art, and that's what people don't realise. It's about getting hit hitting, and not getting hit yourself.
Hitting and not getting hit yourself. 100%. Basically dodged a bullet.
No, I was just going to mention Rocky again. So Rocky does this speech.
Ask another question.
No, hold on a minute. Rocky makes this speech.
Sonny, this is getting really boring.
Hold on a minute, right? It's like, it's not how hard you get hit. It's how hard you get hit and get up.
Get back up again, yeah.
So what about that? Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, that's a metaphor for life, isn't it, really?
It is.
Sometimes you can take like a, you can, some unfortunate circumstance or whatever, it happens in life, but you just got to get back up again. And the same in a fight, you get hit and you might get hurt or whatever, but you got to get back up and do your best.
Oh, so with that in mind, I wanted to know finally, Inder, what are the plans for you? We mentioned you're signed now to World Boxing Group MTK Global. What are the plans for you? Obviously, you've achieved so much. For any of our listeners who are tuning in, who missed out on the discussion in the last hour, Inder is 5 times London champion, 2 times Southern Area champion, home counties champion, 3 times national finalist as well as an amateur. So what are the plans? What are you hoping for?
Well, it's the beginning of a decade, and it's hopefully going to be a long and successful decade. 2020, hopefully I'll have about 6-7 fights by the end of this year. So my 3rd one in April. And then by next year, which will set me up for some title fights, I'll start, obviously, the Southern Area, English title, that kind of stuff.
Right.
But that's obviously down to my promoter and manager, that's their job, sort of. But as long as I keep on winning, I should hopefully set myself up for a big 2021 where I can start fighting for titles myself.
Amazing.
Nice.
So
and what's the actual title that you want?
Well,
the one that you thought, I've got it. This is the one, because don't forget, Muhammad Ali came. Yeah. So in what weight would that come?
So currently I'm a light middleweight.
Okay.
But I'm 23, so I might even grow to a super middle. You never know. But as of yet, I'm a light middleweight. I make the weight quite comfortably.
Yeah.
I don't starve myself like some boxers do. So that's the weight I'm sticking at, light middleweight. But you never know. I might.
Who's the world champion at the moment?
So at light middleweight, it was Canelo.
Have you told him you're coming?
I told him. I sent him a DM.
Yeah. You gotta see it, man. It's all about the mind game.
Look over your shoulder, dude.
Now you can follow Inder on Instagram. It's Inder Bassi _ INDER BASSI _. And honestly, congratulations. It's been such a pleasure having you on the show, Inder.
Thank you. The pleasure's all mine.
I think
I want to make him smile again. Okay, is that right before he goes?
Play another boxing.
Look at him,
do you actually even listen to this when you are training?
And sometimes if it does come up, you do get the feeling,
Do you get hyped?
You do. It's now everyone does.
Do you start running onto this?
I'm going to run home now.
Yay! Inder,
you've got a long way to go.
Honestly, legend in the making, and we're going to follow the journey. Inder Bassi on Instagram, Inder Bassi _, and we want to get your granddad on the show, please.
100%,
Major Singh Bassi. We need to make that happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Because he's a Londoner, right? And to be the first Sikh boxers in the country, wow, we've got to make that happen. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.